You're listening because you want to get to the heart of things, right? To understand the core ideas quickly and thoroughly. Well, today we're doing just that, diving deep into something absolutely fundamental. The role, the power, really, of hard work in getting where we want to go in life. And our source material for this, it's a really insightful chat between Alex and Emma on their English Speak podcast. They clearly gave this some serious thought.
They really did. And what's great about their conversation is that it's not just, work hard, things happen. They dig into it from different perspectives.
Yeah, different angles gives you a much richer picture.
Exactly. They look at what hard work actually is, how it stacks up against, say, talent, and what it does to us, like on the inside.
Right. So our mission today, our deep dive, is to pull out those essential insights for you. What does hard work really mean? How does it connect to talent or failure or even passion? And, ultimately, how does it shape us and the opportunities we get? Okay, so first things first. How did Alex and Emma actually define hard work? What were they getting at?
Well, Emma kicked things off. For her, it was very much about the daily grind,
Yeah.
giving your best effort consistently.
Day in, day out.
Yeah, commitment to your goals, pushing yourself a bit beyond your comfort zone, and crucially, just showing up consistently.
That reliability idea, being reliable to yourself almost.
You could put it that way, yeah. And Alex chimed in too, right?
He did. What was his angle?
He added the element of focus, staying locked in, especially with all the distractions flying around us constantly.
That's huge today, isn't it? Maintaining focus is hard work.
It really is. And both of them kind of circle back to this idea that it's not always about these like massive heroic efforts.
Right, not just one big push.
Exactly. It's more the habit, the steady accumulation of smaller, consistent actions, those little bits adding up over time to something significant.
Like compound interest, but for effort.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so if it's about this consistent effort, this focus, that immediately brings up the big question. Hard work versus talent. What do they say about that?
Right, the age-old debate. Well, we all know society often puts talent on a pedestal, this idea that some people are just, born gifted.
Sure, the natural.
But Alex had a really strong counterpoint. He basically said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Oh, I like that. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
It's powerful, isn't it? It sort of levels the playing field. Potential isn't enough on its own.
It really suggests that those gifts, even if you have them, need that consistent effort to actually mean something.
Exactly. And Emma backed this up. She mentioned seeing people she considered maybe average in terms of raw talent achieve amazing things
Oh.
purely through sheer persistence, determination, just grinding it out.
So it really does kind of democratize success in a way. It's not just about the hand you're dealt.
Not at all. It's about what you do with that hand, day after day.
And they didn't just talk theory, which I like. They brought in personal stories. Emma talked about public speaking, didn't she?
She did, yeah. And she was pretty open about how much she struggled with it initially. Lacked confidence, felt uncomfortable.
Relatable for many, I'm sure.
Totally. But she didn't just accept it. She actively worked on it.
Yeah.
Practicing in front of a mirror.
A classic.
Recording herself, which can be painful but useful. And joining clubs, putting herself out there. It was a great example of turning a weakness into, well, clearly now, a strength.
It's amazing to think about someone hosting a podcast, having worked so hard on that very skill, really drives home the point about practice. And Alex had a story, too, from early in his career.
Yes, he talked about being thrown onto a project way over his head, experience-wise.
Oh, daunting.
Very. But instead of, shrinking away, he dove in. Late nights, reading everything he could find, asking for help from colleagues.
So really committing.
Absolutely. Constant learning, constant improving. And the outcome. Not only did the project succeed, but it led to a promotion for him.
Wow. So that intense effort wasn't just about survival. It actually opened doors.
Precisely. It created an opportunity that might not have existed otherwise. It shows how that dedication can really change your trajectory.
Okay, so it's practical, it gets results.
Yeah.
But they also talked about something deeper, didn't they? How hard work shapes us as people.
Yes, this was a really interesting part of their chat. Emma's point was that the act of working hard, the process itself, builds qualities in us.
Like what?
Resilience, for one, patience, even courage, she said. It's not just about the goal, it's about who you become on the way there.
That internal transformation, that's profound.
It really is. It puts value on the journey, not just the destination. And Alex added that this is what builds character. It helps define what success really feels like, that internal satisfaction.
Knowing you gave it your all.
Exactly.
And inevitably, if you're pushing yourself, you're going to stumble. You're going to fail sometimes.
Yeah.
How did hard work fit into their discussion about dealing with failure?
They didn't see failure as, like, the opposite of success, more like a part of it.
An ingredient.
Sort of, yeah. They emphasize that when you're consistently putting in the effort, even when things go wrong, you're still learning. You're gaining experience.
You learn what doesn't work.
Right. You adapt. You grow stronger. That foundation of hard work gives you the resilience to get back up and try again, maybe differently.
It makes sense. If you've invested that effort, you're probably less likely to just give up at the first hurdle. You want to figure it out.
We're invested. Exactly.
Okay, let's shift to the mindset side of things. What did they say about how our thinking, our passions connect with working hard?
They definitely linked it to the idea of a growth mindset. The belief that your abilities aren't fixed.
Right, that you can improve through effort.
Precisely. If you believe that, you're much more likely to embrace challenges, to see effort as the way to get better, not as a sign you're not good enough to begin with.
It's a positive loop then. Believing you can improve fuels the effort, and the effort leads to improvement, reinforcing the belief.
You got it. That's the core idea.
And passion. Where does that fit in? Does working hard feel easier if you're passionate?
Definitely. They both agreed that when hard work is connected to something you genuinely care about, it changes the whole dynamic.
How so?
It feels less like a chore, more like a mission almost, as Alex put it. That intrinsic drive fuels your perseverance. You're willing to make sacrifices, put in the long hours, because it means something to you.
But what if you haven't found that passion yet? Are you just doomed to slog away miserably?
No, thankfully. They actually raised a really encouraging point about that. Sometimes passion isn't the starting point.
Ooh.
Sometimes it's the result of hard work. By trying different things, putting in the effort, you might discover what you're passionate about along the way.
So passion can grow out of the work itself.
It can, yes. You get good at something through effort, you start to enjoy it more. Maybe that's where the passion ignites.
That's quite liberating, actually. Takes the pressure off finding that one perfect thing before you start. Just start doing, maybe?
Kind of, yeah. Engage, put in the effort, and see what happens.
Okay. Now, patience. In our world, we want everything yesterday. How does hard work teach patience, according to Alex and Emma?
Well, just by its very nature, right? Hard work usually means sustained effort over time. Results aren't instant.
True.
So it forces you to learn patience, to understand that meaningful things take time to build. You have to trust the process, even when you can't see the finish line yet.
Value the journey, like we said earlier, but staying motivated on that long journey, that can be tough. Did they offer any practical tips?
They did. Emma talked about constantly reminding yourself of your why.
Your reason for doing it in the first place.
Exactly. Also, visualizing the outcome you want and breaking big tasks down, making it feel less overwhelming.
Smaller chunks. Manageable steps. Makes sense. What about Alex? Any motivation strategies from him?
Alex emphasized celebrating the small wins along the way.
Acknowledging progress.
Yes. Set smaller goals, and when you hit them, actually take a moment to recognize that achievement. Reward yourself, maybe. He also mentioned the power of your environment, surrounding yourself with positive, motivated people.
Yeah, that social support can be huge. Pulling each other along.
Definitely. But they also stress something beyond just motivation, which can, come and go.
What was that?
Discipline.
Right. The less glamorous sibling of motivation.
Maybe. But probably more important in the long run. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's the engine.
Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going.
That's a great way to put it. And tracking your progress, like Alex said, with small wins, that reinforces the discipline too. You see it working.
Okay, so let's talk about identity. How does all this effort, this discipline, this work, how does it affect how we see ourselves?
Emma linked it directly to building self-respect, self-trust.
How so?
When you know you've put in the genuine effort, when you've overcome challenges through your own persistence, it builds this deep belief in your own ability, a sense of pride. You trust yourself more because you've seen what you can do.
You've earned your own respect, in a way.
Exactly. And Alex brought in the idea of responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah, recognizing that your results are tied to your effort fosters this sense of control. You own your journey. You're not just passively waiting for things to happen. You're actively shaping your life.
Taking ownership, that's empowering.
Very much so. And the long-term result of all this,
A better life.
a more fulfilling life, they argued. Even if you don't achieve every single goal, the satisfaction of knowing you gave your best, that you strived, that brings a deep sense of meaning and integrity.
It's about how you played the game, not just the final score.
You could say that.
All right, one last big area, opportunity. We often talk about being lucky, being in the right place. How did Alex and Emma connect hard work to opportunity?
Their view was that hard work often creates its own opportunities. It's not just about being ready when opportunity knocks, it's about building the door.
How does that work?
By consistently showing up, being dedicated,
Yeah.
doing good work, people notice. Your reputation builds. Doors open because others see your commitment, your reliability, your potential.
So that right place, right time might actually be the result of all the hard work you did before that moment.
That was very much their point. Opportunity tends to favor the prepared, and preparation comes from that consistent effort. You put yourself in a position where you can recognize and seize an opportunity when it appears.
It's proactive, not passive. You're not just waiting for luck.
Exactly. You're making your own luck, in a sense, through diligent preparation.
Okay, finally. Inevitably, there are times when you are working hard, but it feels like nothing's happening. It's discouraging. What advice did they offer for those moments?
Emma's core message was, don't give up. Simple, but crucial. Understand that results take time. Stay consistent. Keep believing in the journey.
Trust the process again.
Mm-hmm. And she reassured listeners that the effort is never wasted. Even if it doesn't lead to the exact outcome you wanted right now, it's still building you, teaching you, preparing you.
That's comforting. What about Alex?
Alex echoed that, adding that every small step is progress, even if it doesn't feel like it. Stay patient, stay passionate if you can, and believe that your time will come, often when you least expect it.
It keeps coming back to that idea, doesn't it? Success isn't just the end point. It's the growth that happens all along the way because of the effort.
That really seems to be the central theme from their conversation.
So, wrapping up our deep dive into Alex and Emma's chat, the big takeaway feels like this. Hard work isn't just about hitting targets. It's fundamental. It builds resilience, shapes character, and ultimately leads to a richer, more meaningful, and yeah, probably more successful life.
And it's definitely worth thinking about how this applies to you listening right now.
Mhm.
How do these ideas about consistency, focus, passion, dealing with setbacks, how do they resonate with your own goals, your own life?
Yeah, that reflection is key. Don't just listen. Maybe think about one thing you could apply. And here's that final thought to mull over, building on what we discussed. Is luck really just random chance?
Or,
Or is it maybe, just maybe, that point where your preparation, all that consistent hard work, finally meets opportunity, something to chew on as you tackle your own challenges?
definitely something to think about. We hope this exploration gave you some valuable perspective on the power and, frankly, the necessity of hard work.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep putting in that essential effort.